Good afternoon. Today we're going to try a whiskey I bought 3-4 weeks ago up in Kansas City. It may be around here by now. I think it is actually, but I've only seen this variant here up around Kansas City. They've got a couple other different variants I've seen up there at one particular store. Not all stores have it. Anyway, it's getting way ahead of myself. It's from a High Coast single malt whiskey. It's called Have, H-A-V. Then it's also got oak in the corner here. So I think Have means oak. I could be wrong about that. The whiskey is crafted on the beautiful riverbanks of the Angamanalavan in virgin oak cask. That's a river, and I think that river is denoted on the box. It's got a beautiful box. I don't know if you can see the relief in it or not, but this little gold line is supposed to be the river as it flows into the fjord down in what I assume is the fjord there, and maybe out into the Baltic from that point. It is a Swedish whiskey, non-chill filtered, no coloring added. It's oak spice, and this is Have from High Coast Distillery at a latitude of 63 degrees north, one of the world's most northerly whiskey distilleries. So it's quite a ways north in latitude-wise. Oh, sorry I had to do that, but I want to read this to you too. Lightly peated, spicy single malt whiskey was matured in virgin oak and first fill bourbon casks with the finest High Coast spirit. Have a sip, feel the warmth of our bright summers and the cold of our dark frozen winters. Embrace the sounds of silent forests, hear the winding rivers quietly flowing to the sea, picture stars reflecting in a mirrored forest lake. It's 48% ABV, which has got a good ABV on it. No age statement. I can tell you it's kind of young feeling. Scott off the Scotch Test Dummies, after I'd bought it and tried it, I was in a hotel room. Of course, I didn't have a tasting glass or nothing. And I wrote to him, this is how the conversation started. I bought this to try as well. And he wrote, interesting bottle. You'd think by now you'd take your own glass when staying in a motel. He's got a point there. So, my initial thoughts on this, what I sent him was little green apples, toffee, a bitter bite, a strange funky oak note with a mild smoky note. Very mild smoky note. That was my initial perceptions. It's opened up since then. It's gotten a little bit more. I've left the stopper off of it for an hour. Twice I've done that so far. And as you can tell, I've had quarter of the bottle roughly at this point. So let's see if my perceptions have changed. They have. I know they have, but you guys need to be around to need to know where I started from. I say that so you're aware of where I actually started from on this to where we are now. Wise. I do still get the little green apples, but I get a lot more vanillas now. I didn't get the vanilla notes up front. Touch of the toffee still. It's still there. The vanilla's new though. That wind's a howling outside. You can hear it coming down through the chimney. I don't know if it'll pick it up on this or not, but there's a menthol note to it as well. Never so slight smoky note in the nose. It's not very dominating at all. It just kind of lingers in the back. Try it now, see where it goes on the palate. The vanilla's become more prominent. Get a black pepper, cinnamon. The apples, the green apples that I got initially, they were real strong in the beginning. They're there, but they're not so bold. It's much more spicy now. A little allspice in there too. The spiciness has become more noticeable. I think that came across as a weird alcohol note. The oak, it's there. It's less bitter than it was when it started. There's more of a menthol note in this now. You get a menthol sensation. But the bitterness has died down. The bitterness is, the oxygenation has actually helped this bottle. I mean, there's still a touch of bitterness back there somewhere, but it's not like it was. It was extremely bitter up front. It just was really strange. Now that's really dialed back. Call it a gold. Medium gold color-wise. No age statement, but it's been in barrels long enough even at that latitude to have transferred some color. Now I know they've used virgin oak casks, which are going to transfer more barrel interaction to the spirit than they would if they were first, second, third fill casks, whatever. But, and there is some argument that I've read in the past where virgin oak casks is just too rough for a barley based 100% malted barley spirit in it. That's another thing. This is a malt whiskey. But it's not very malty. It starts to drink like a Highland Scotch, but it doesn't have that malty backbone to carry it through. It doesn't have that solid maltiness that I like in a good Highland. There's a little maltiness in there. Overall, my impression is this is a young whiskey. So all these things are just, they're starting to show, but they're not manifesting themselves in a more rounded, stronger way within the spirit itself. I think, honestly, the quality of this spirit could probably improve with more time, obviously. I don't think the spirit itself was bad. I don't think the barrel is bad. I just don't think it's just young. And it tastes young. Does transition from open bottle to this rather well. This has helped it a lot. We give it a little water. I didn't have my dropper, so we're just going to try to just drop 1 or 2 drops down. Oh, maybe 3 or 4 drops there. Excuse me, I got some burps going on. It is a little bit more oily. It's nothing at all more creamy than oily. It's not very saturating on the palate, but there is a nice oiliness in there. It does have some tears form. It does cling to the glass. With water, more the spiciness shows up a little bit. The vanillas are there. That black pepper cinnamon combination stays pretty prominent with the allspice too. I mean, those are 3 things I noticed that just kind of keep going. Dials down the ABV. Dials down that slight alcohol kick you get. Becomes more vanilla, more toffee. Yeah, I'd say more toffee, maybe even just a touch of chocolate in that with the water. Gives you a lot of little flavors, but it's all just hints of flavors. It's not except for the vanillas are real bold in it and that spicy character, but there's other little nuances in there, which you kind of got to hunt for them. At least it's not this bitter bomb anymore. And the weird oaky funky note it had in it, that's gone. Thank God, because that was awful. I tell you what, I was not happy with my purchase at first. I'm much more happy now. Even for a $50 bottle, I still don't like to buy a bottle for pay $50 for a bottle and go, I don't like doing that. Nobody does. But I do it with a $170 bottle. It's even more just irritating. But you're going to have to do that if you're going to do this. So you got to learn to part with your ideas and just forge ahead. Accept the good with the bad. I'm not going to give it a very high score though. 84. That's the high as I can go on it. Needs more time in the bottle. Needs more time to develop. If you do purchase this, make sure you give it plenty of open time so she can kind of adjust. The oxygen helps this bottle a lot. It gets a little better as it gets a little lower. I can't think of much else to say. So I'll end it right here. Remember, the spirit in your glass ain't running from you. Take your time, sip it, enjoy it, and you'll be better for it, as will we all. Be careful, be safe out there. Have a wonderful evening. Let's see what the temperature is real quick. Because I went and got some wood and carried it in a while ago out from underneath the snow. I got covered, but it was rather cold. Let's see here. It's only 14 degrees. So, supposed to get to a low of 12 tonight. Says we're supposed to have a 100% chance of snow out there, but it wasn't snowing a while ago, but that was probably an hour ago I carried that wood in. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye now.